Okay, so we're going to do the next part of our demo today, and we're going to be making wild-caught salmon with a prickly pear glaze, and then we're going to make a prickly pear sauce with some citrus, and we're going to garnish it with wild onions from the garden. So Chef Walter, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's talk about how you marinated this salmon and what you did and why.
I marinate with the lemon to give sometimes the fishes usually have a strong taste to it. So anyway, this is just just kind of trim it down to where it gives a better flavor too than what you're having. So this is just another way that I do, or sometimes I put herbs on it. But for salmon, this is the way I usually do, or sometimes people use zest on it. It depends how you want it, and so this is the way I decided to do this on this dish today.
What we're going to do is we're going to sear that salmon. We're going to show you guys how to do this, and we're using some sunflower oil. And what we're going to do is just put some oil into a cast iron pan. Chef Walter's going to we're using a prickly pear syrup. So for this, we're actually taking the fruit and using a syrup from a New Mexico vendor. We're using A&J, the prickly pear cactus syrup. This is a great product. And what we're going to do is put the prickly pear first and then do a little salt and pepper, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and do that and then show everybody.
Put a little oil on it.
Okay.
Okay.
And let's get the prickly pear on there. And then we'll do salt and pepper. And the prickly pear, because it's sweet, is going to caramelize a little bit. It's going to give a really, really nice color, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be a little bit of salt, and then let's get that glaze on there. Alrighty. Okay. And so our pan is really, really hot, and we're going to put a little bit of oil, right, Chef Walter?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get a little oil in the pan. Okay, and then we're going to do we're going to take the salmon and put it with the top side down, because that's how we're going to be serving it. So let's go ahead and get that into the pan for searing. And then we're going to do the skin side. Look at that. Mm-hmm. And so while your salmon is cooking, you want to just season the other side too, yes. Right? Little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then we're going to do those last two, show everybody how to sear salmon. And why would we want to sear salmon? What's the point? Well, it really locks in that flavor, right? Because we're using a really high heat. And searing, what searing does, and you want to do about 1 to 2 minutes, right? Yeah. Then we're going to use a fish spatula. Let's show everybody that tool, because this is a great, great tool.
Some people love to use this.
You like
offset. I love to use.
Okay. And then after it sears for 1 to 2 minutes, then we're going to flip it over. Ooh, that looks great, huh? Mm-hmm. Let's give it a flip over. And then we're going to do the other side. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. And so the salmon is actually not cooked when we're searing. So we're going to put it on a tray, and it's going to go in the oven while we make the sauce. And once it's seared, so a couple of minutes on the top and then a couple of minutes on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and put that into our pan. That looks great. And then this goes in the oven while we do our next part of this. Wow, look at that. So this goes right in the oven. And then what we're going to do, we're going to move this in the back here, and we're going to make the sauce. And so the sauce for this is very easy. It's just some oranges that are squeezed. Let's get a little bowl, Chef Walter, so we can squeeze that. So we're going to use, and while our pan is heating, we're just going to squeeze that in, and you start squeezing and I'll start cutting the rest of the oranges. And this is going to be some delicious citrus here, right?
Yeah.
And so we're using fresh oranges because that's going to give us the best flavor. If you couldn't get fresh oranges, what could you do? We could use a little orange juice, right?
Yeah.
That would be fine. So, yeah, that would be perfectly fine. So we're going to squeeze all the juice out of those oranges into our pan here. And then we're also going to do a lemon. And for this we have some butter. And we're using butter to just finish off that sauce. It's gonna be good, right? And our fish is in the oven, and the fish is cooking while we make the sauce. So we are gonna add a little prickly pear to this, and we'll just add a couple of teaspoons of that. And that'll give a nice color, but also the flavor, right?
Yeah.
This is really about the prickly pear. And let's go ahead and add that. 1, 2, great. And this is a very simple sauce, right?
Yeah. That should be enough.
Yeah, let's do the lemon. And then what we're gonna do is just put it in the pan, and it's going to be very hot, and then we're going to add the butter, and we're going to be whisking this, and we're whisking that butter in to finish it off, and put that in there, and then we're going to tell them what you're doing, Chef Walter. So we've got our juice in here. We want to bring that to a boil, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to take your whisk and you're going to whisk in the butter.
Yeah, just let it warm up a little.
Yeah, let it bring it to a boil. You can actually see it starting to boil, right? Look at that beautiful color. Lovely, right?
Yeah.
And this sauce, it's not going to get very thick, but it is going to have a lot of flavor. And should we add a little salt to this?
No.
No salt
no
to
salt.
this, okay. But we will taste it once we have the butter in there. There. Okay, now that it's boiling,
You kind of like just let it
reduce a little bit, okay? And then we can start to add the butter. That's gonna be great. And then this is what's gonna go over the fish. So let's go ahead and add this and give it a stir. You can add one piece at a time, there we go. And then you're just whisking it in. All right, it's gonna be good, right? Should I add the next one? Okay. Wait till it dissolves. All right. Nice. Yeah. All right. So one more. Okay, let's add this one. And see, we're whisking, right? And why are you doing this? It's to get it to
Get
give
the
it
sauce,
a
yeah, kind of a thick sauce, like, you know.
nice flavor, beautiful color, right? And you could serve this with I'll wait till you do that and then we'll add, yeah. And so the salmon could be served with anything. You could serve it with a salad, you could serve it with a starch, you could serve it with a rice dish. We're just showing you how to do the salmon today. Look at that beautiful sauce starting to come together, right? And last one. That's gonna be really nice. All right. And our salmon is in the oven, so that's cooking. And then we'll just set that, I'll move this and we'll show them how to plate this. Great. Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So constantly whisking, you're constantly stirring, getting that butter to melt. Excellent. And then that's really good, right? So then what we're going to do is we're just going to move this. We're going to show you guys how to plate it, right? That's beautiful. All right. So let's just move this real quick. Take that burner out. And let's get a plate for plating. We can take our salmon, which is in the oven. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? And then we're using wild onions from the garden. So wild onions are a Native American specialty, and these come up every year on their own. This is a Tohono O'odham onion. So we're going to use some of the little onion tops. You want to go ahead and put your fish on there. And then we like to use the whole onion, right? But you could also dice it. So you could use chives or green onions for this. Beautiful. And then let's get your sauce and a nice spoon for spooning that on there. Ah, look at that. Set this right here. So we have our citrus and prickly pear. Give it a nice stir. And we're going to garnish this with these beautiful wild onions. So the flowers are edible too, right?
Yeah.
And they have a really nice burst of onion flavor. And then we're just going to drizzle some on the plate. Beautiful. That looks lovely. And then garnish with some onion. And then here are the onion flowers that we're going to be using. So again, this is a relatively easy dish. We're going to use a little of that prickly pear syrup for color, right? Which we're going to put on top of this other sauce, just right out of the jar. And beautiful, look at that. Get some nice art going. Isn't that pretty? Oh, that looks lovely. And yeah, the prickly pear has that magenta color. And you know, prickly pear, the fruits are used traditionally as a dye, right? You use it in your tribe. Walter's from the Navajo Nation, and they use the prickly pear as a dye for some of the rugs.
Yes.
Yeah, your grandma used to do that, and it's a great dye. So nice little garnish there with our wild onions and some little flowers. Make it really nice. And so again, very easy dish, but lots of flavor, right? And we have our beautiful, look at that plate, guys. That is just so pretty. We have our wild onion, and we have a nice piece of salmon that we seared with the prickly pear, and then our citrus sauce. Just absolutely beautiful. You could serve it with a number of sides, but really we wanted to focus on the prickly pear fruits today, and looks pretty amazing, right? So we have so much enjoyed this Prickly Pear Festival, you guys. We're just so honored to be part of something. We love cactus. We love prickly pear, and we use it a lot in a lot of things we do. So this is a great dish to do, easy. I think everybody out there could do this. You could do this at home very easily. We're gonna post the recipe and a beautiful still shot of this so that you'll be able to make it at home. And we just want to say it's been so much fun being your chefs today, and thank you so much for joining us. And signing off, I'm Chef Lois Ellen Frank from Red Mesa Cuisine, and this is
Walter Whitewater
from Red Mesa Cuisine, and we're just so honored to be here. Feel